Hello, and welcome to Prelude to the Future, a virtual celebration to kick off the 40th anniversary season of the Shoreline Chorale. My name is Russell Hammond, and I'm the current director of the chorale. On behalf of the board and all our members, we want to thank you for joining us this evening as we look back at the past 40 years of the Shoreline Chorale. Tonight's program will be divided into two sections. The first section will go over what we've been doing since the pandemic broke a little over a year ago. We created 3 virtual choirs, which has been quite an accomplishment and quite a pleasure for us all to work on. So here are our first 2 efforts: Irish Blessing, arranged by Mark Patterson, and Hold Fast to Dreams by Susan Labar. Again, thank you and enjoy the program.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind gently blow at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your feet. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of His hand. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind gently blow at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your feet. And until we meet again, may God Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams start, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams start, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. A broken winged bird that cannot fly.
Wow, it's been a while since I listened to those two pieces, and I hope you enjoyed listening to them as much as I did. Those are great memories there, with lots of great people putting forth a lot of great effort. Speaking of effort, we thought it might be a good idea for you to hear what a couple of the singers had to say about the virtual choir process. As you can imagine, it took a lot of effort and a lot of risk to have all of us dive into the virtual choir medium. So here are a few singers with their thoughts on the virtual choir process. Enjoy. So, Deb, thanks for doing this interview. As you know, we're talking about the virtual choir process, and you did all three of the virtual choirs, and so you're pretty much an expert on what it takes to do a virtual choir. So my first question is, what did you find were some of the challenges of doing the virtual choir process?
Sure. The first thing is that hearing what my voice sounded like on audio, on tape, as opposed to what I sound like to myself was a shock. And it's been a long time since I've heard my voice on tape. So I had to kind of get over that.
I leaned heavily on, when we would sing together in rehearsals, I leaned heavily on the bass to my left and the bass to my right, Rob Walker. And so, yeah, you're listening to that and learning music and hearing yourself. And as you say, you know, you hate the sound of your own voice. So, you know, it's take 93. Okay, I'm going to get it right this time.
Well, first of all, I'm really not computer literate. So just learning how to do it was a challenge.
It was kind of putting the whole thing together, you know, that would be challenging, you know, getting the phone. So we've got the computer in the background and then the phone and getting everything in the right place. And then, you know, making sure you're looking at the camera and making sure you don't, I mean, there were a lot of things you had to attend to. Make sure you're not like, you know, shuffling your pages. I mean, I was trying to memorize the music, but I had them nearby.
Last one was really hard because there were so many pages and we had to record it. And of course, there's lots of pages that you had to try and spread out. And I have trifocals. So to get the pages down where I could see them and also try and look into the camera, it was really hard.
So after all of that, after all the challenges and stuff, as you look back on the three choir pieces you did, what do you take away as like what you remembered as being enjoyable about it? What did you enjoy about doing the virtual choir?
Oh, I absolutely loved the whole process. I mean, the first thing was, I was over the moon when I got the email that we were doing this because I had seen a few others and I thought this is so amazing, like technologically what's involved to put people together in this way when we're recording separately. And I mean, I was so bereft at that point from the pandemic and not being able to see people or sing. And so the opportunity to sing and have a project that I was working on every day, I was just so thrilled. And I really liked having the chance to work on my own singing.
Seeing the final production and then hearing it. And I think the Jesus Bambino, I'm not kidding when I say I must have listened to that 30 or 40 times.
And when it actually came out, it was such a joy. I mean, I cried every time I saw them. So first of all, the joy for myself, and then being able to share it with friends and family and getting so many comments about how touched they were. And especially when we did Jesu Bambino at Christmas, because so many of us were not able to be with our families, and I wasn't going to be able to be with my family and with all of them. And it was just great to have this beautiful piece to share.
I give all the singers a lot of credit for overcoming their apprehension to put in the time and effort to create those videos. As you will see with our final video, the effort and sacrifice was well worth it. Here's our third and final virtual choir performance, Jesu Bambino, created with our friends from Coimbra.
When blossoms flower amid the snows upon a winter night, was born the child, the Christmas rose, the King of love and light. The angels sang, the showers sang, the grateful earth rejoiced, the grateful earth rejoiced, and at His blessed birth the stars their exultation voiced. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us Again the ark with rapture glows to greet the holy night that gave the world its Christmas rose, the King of love and light. Let every voice acclaim His name, the grateful chorus swell, the grateful chorus swell. From paradise to earth He came, that we with Him might dwell. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us Christ the Lord. Was born the child, the Christmas rose, the King of King of love and lies.
Well, there you have it. What the chorale's been up to over the last year or so. It was a lot of fun putting those 3 videos together, but we really look forward to getting back together in person beginning in June for a little working out the kinks, soft reopening, and then hopefully in the fall right here in the beautiful Congregational Church of Madison. Of course, the celebration tonight would not be complete without looking back at the great 40-year history of the chorale. And of course, nothing would be better to get us started on that than to hear from our first director, Ray DeLucia, all the way from England, and Pat Hill, an original member of the group who still sings with the choir even today. Enjoy.
Hi, Ray DeLucia here. It's hard to believe it has been 40 years since a group of us started Shoreline Chorale. Almost as hard to believe that I've been living in the UK for 22 years. I have fond memories of the singers who approached me in 1981, 4 years after I had become choral director at Daniel Hand High School, and 8 years after moving to Madison from New York. I would guess that Pat Hill would say that I had the inclination, and more importantly, the room at the high school, as well as the music library. I also knew a wonderful accompanist in Nan Hawes. In just the short time that I was the director, a lot of singing and engagements flowed under the piano, including a European exchange trip to Antwerp in Belgium, from which a lot of lasting memories came and friendships grew. Being here in England, I am regularly in touch with the Belgian couple who stayed with us, for example. I now dabble in writing music, I teach voice, but am otherwise involved in running our B&B here in Bexhill-on-Sea called The Little Garth. Come visit us if you get the chance. I sincerely wish you continued success as members of the Shoreline Chorale, and that you always find the joy in singing. It is cathartic. Best wishes to your current director, Russell Hammond, and here's to hopes that this pandemic will soon be over and the world can once again make beautiful music together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Pat Hill, an original member of the Shoreline Chorale, so that means she's been singing with the group for 40 years. I know, she must have been about 4 or 5 years old when she started.
Absolutely. I wish.
Well, obviously she's just got a great perspective on the history of the chorale, and as we celebrate the 40th anniversary, we thought it'd be good to spend a couple minutes with Pat. So this interview is called 5 Questions with Pat Hill. So here we go, Pat. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So Pat, you were in the first rehearsal of the Shoreline Chorale 40 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And in the first year.
Yes.
Anything particularly you remember about that first year that you could share with us?
I remember that we had quite a mixture in age. We had, because Ray actually directed the choir at the high school, we had some of his students, and they joined the group and stayed with us. And it was good to have that mixture in age together. We enjoyed each other.
Do you remember like why the group started? Like what got the group together?
I wish I could remember the name of the guy, but there was a group in Guilford that wanted to start a chorale, and his first name was Martin, but at any rate, he came and he joined the chorale with us when he found out that Ray DeLucia would be our director.
Got it.
So
Got it.
that's how it sort of
That's awesome.
got started.
That's awesome. Well, over
Yeah.
the last 40 years, I mean, a lot of people have come in and out of the group. etc. And I'm just kind of curious, like, if I asked you how many people have sung in the choir over the last 40 years, what kind of number you think you'd come up with?
The numbers varied, and I would say, because this is always true, if a director chooses music that people like, you get a large group of people. We've had directors that have gone, I'll give you an example. Their music was more Broadway type music. A lot of singers that really are serious about singing don't like Broadway music. It's a different way of singing.
So the size of the group depended a lot on, what
The
type of
music
music was
that
being
was
done
chosen.
and who the conductor was being
Absolutely.
done. What's the largest you think the group's ever been? I mean, just ballpark.
That's difficult to say. I felt that Ray DeLucia, who managed to do a variety of music from classical to not popular music, but some Broadway, but not a lot. He just had a good choice. So the numbers would go up to like 50, 55 people. There was one director, Tommy Adnolfi, who had been a director of music at Guilford High School. Ray was director of music at Daniel Hand High School. Tommy was very popular because she sang in a lot of different groups herself, and she drew a lot of people.
That's
at
great.
the same time.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So another thing that comes to my mind that I wanted to talk to you about is just some of the concerts over the years, and I know the chorale took some trips as well. Can you briefly talk about some of the highlights of that, like places you've gone and places where the chorale sung?
There, of course, I'm going to have to put a plug in because I was the one that put it together. But after our first 2 years with Ray DeLucia, we decided to take a trip to Belgium and England together. And so we sang in cathedrals in Belgium. We sang in cathedrals in London as well. And that was great fun. Here in the States, of course, the chorale has sung at the Congregational Church in Madison, St. Andrew's Church in Madison, and I believe we actually sang in the Guilford Congregational Church once, Clinton Congregational Church once, and I think once in Westbrook too.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Singing all the local churches, and I'm
Yes.
sure those European trips are, kind of lifetime memories. That's great.
Yes.
This is my fifth question. You've been singing in the group for 40 years, so a question I have to ask you: what keeps you singing, and what keeps you staying in the group? Besides the outstanding director who's currently running the group.
Of course. And it's true that directors kind of draw me to stay, but with Shoreline Chorale, so I was one of the originals. I actually played a part and have been on the board ever since the beginning. I don't think I've ever been off the board. My one feeling is that I want to see Shoreline Chorale continue forever. So I love to see it when we get a good director. And Russ, I consider you a very good director. I want to see the Shoreline Chorale continue.
Yeah, the next 40 years are going to be
And
even better.
I will be in it.
Well,
Maybe not doing solo, but be in it for.
Well, thank you for your 40 years, and thank you for taking the time for this interview. I mean, that's my
My
5
pleasure.
questions. I think it actually was 6, but I do have a bonus question.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So, have you ever made a mistake on your part in the last 40 years?
Yes, of course I.
Thank you so much, Pat and Ray, for providing those unique perspectives on the history of the chorale. We appreciate all your efforts. Ray starting the group, and Pat serving on the board and singing with the choir all these years. Thank you very much. Another important member of the chorale, and another member who has a unique perspective on the history of the chorale, is Tom Spear. Tom is a jack of all trades. He records concerts, he served on the board, he sings. He's been doing it all for the chorale for many years, and the chorale would not be what it is without his expertise and dedication to the choir. Over the years, the chorale has had many different initiatives, in addition to just having the entire choir sing a couple concerts a year. So here's a brief interview with Tom on talking about some of those initiatives over the last 40 years. Hi, I'm here with longtime Shoreline Chorale member Tom Spear. Tom is generous enough to give us a few minutes of his time today, mainly because Tom has been with the chorale for a long time and he has been a contributing member in so many ways. He's sung with the chorale for many years. He's been a board president. He's served on the board in various capacities, and he's just a sort of jack of all trades kind of guy who has a great knowledge of the background of the chorale over the last years. So Tom, thanks for doing this interview today.
Thanks.
Why don't we start with just how long have you been with the chorale?
I looked that up. It was 1997 when I came into the chorale after starting out a couple of years before that with a church choir and just wanted to do more.
And who was the director when?
Lisa Berkowitz.
Oh,
I think
great.
was the name.
Great.
Yeah.
She was there for about 4 years, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of years before me and a couple of years while I was there. And then after a couple of years, then the director became Stephanie Gregory, who continued on as director for another 8 years. And she was very popular with not only the group, but also the community, and was almost the main attraction of why people would come to the concerts.
That's great. That's great. Well, the reason I wanted to speak with you specifically is I know you know a lot of the background of the chorale and various initiatives over the year. One initiative that sticks out to me that maybe you could talk a little bit about is I know there's the Shoreline Chorale, but then there's also some groups of people that kind of were pulled out of the chorale who did different types of music, different types of experiences. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, over the years, and they were groups of people interested in doing sorts of things. One was occurred a couple of different times called the Repertory Singers, and we sing old standards, the Yellow Rose of Texas and those kinds of songs that everybody knows, and go around and just perform them for the people at residence facilities and nursing homes. Everybody enjoyed that.
And what type of choir was that? Was that a all guys? Was that a mix?
That was a SATB, and we usually had a keyboard for accompaniment, but sometimes just a pitch pipe.
Yeah.
So it was a cappella, but it was fun, easy stuff.
How many years do you think that group performed?
Oh, the year I co-led it, we were active for 3 or 4 years. The group previous to that, I'm not sure, but at least
So it's been
years.
on and off several times. Got it.
Right.
And what other groups have there been?
Well, there's been a very popular group called the Shoreliners. They were a almost barbershop quartet type group who again sang at nursing homes and residence facilities in the area. Mostly music arranged by Charlie Houlihan, one of the members and drivers of that group. And not only did they sing outside the group for outreach, but they also sang in our regular concerts. And such a fun, boisterous bunch of guys to watch, and sometimes with instruments and sometimes with chorale backing them up. And
I've heard them. They're really a fun act, right?
Everybody enjoyed it. I think a third type over the years was singing Christmas carols in local shopping centers in downtown Madison, and this was somewhat for fundraising, but it was also fun to sing the familiar Christmas carols that most of us knew for the shoppers.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, it's great to give people extra opportunities. It's also great for diversity for your audience to hear different types of groups. And so that sounds like it was a lot of fun. And maybe we'll do that again in the coming years, right?
Could be, Russ.
In addition to that, I know over the past several years, and even going back further than that, the Shoreline Chorale has done collaborations with other ensembles. Can you talk a little bit about a couple of those that stick out in your mind?
Over the years, sometimes the director who might have at the time been a school chorus director would arrange a collaboration with the school group. They'd bring in their chamber music group, or they're select singers, whatever they might call them, from Westbrook High School or Ledyard High School or places like that. Other collaborations have been with the University Glee Club, and also with
Did you mention there were some church choirs?
also with various church choirs from time to time to sing something like the Foray Requiem, for example. Stutter pause.
What did you enjoy most about those collaborations? Or what do you think the chorale members enjoyed most about them?
Several things. One thing would be just the traveling to another venue. It was always an adventure, you know, and probably twice, once for a rehearsal and once for a concert. Another thing was just to enjoy the challenge of singing and harmonizing with a different bunch of people instead of the same bunch all the time.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I know in my first year we did that with Guilford High School with former director Rachel Allen, and I know that was a lot of fun for us, and to have the younger voices come in and sing, and like you said, just to sing with different people is great and mixes it up. Doesn't hurt our audience either, right? We get more people to come to the
parents always come.
The parents always come. Well, the last thing I want to talk about just for a minute is, I guess, and I don't know too much about this, but I guess at one point the Shoreline Chorale did a really cool initiative with commissioning a piece music, which is a great outreach for the chorale and for enriching the choral repertoire, as it were. So, what do you remember about that occasion?
The one something like that I recall is we had when we had a collaboration with the Elm City Girls Choir. We also brought in a composer, arranger, Neely Bruce from Wesleyan. He had a session with all of us together, and with one of the songs that he had arranged from the Channel Islands, very original type, spiritual type songs. And in the course of that rehearsal meeting, he had the girls invent on the spot to compose a new verse for the song, which was terrifically enjoyable for everybody, and we actually performed that in concert.
That's very cool. That collaboration must have been wonderful. I also was thinking about the thing you said where you told me when we were getting ready for this interview about the different composers who composed a piece, then you chose...
One year, about 10 years ago, under Noah Glenn as the director, we held a competition, and the competition was for Connecticut composers or people related to Connecticut or had gone to school in Connecticut, but choral composers to submit a piece. We had a surprising number of entrants, more than 24 as I recall, and we boiled it down to 6 or 8 that we sang in the concert, and had chose a grand prize as well. Of course, we knew who we had chosen beforehand, and they didn't know until the end of the concert. But singing all those original pieces and having rehearsal sessions with those composers was really a unique thing to have.
It sounds like a wonderful project, all the way around from nuts to bolts. And I know we're looking forward in the 40th year. We're commissioning a piece for the 40th concert in November with Connecticut composer Ellen Gilson-Voth, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to that collaboration.
That'll be interesting. I hope we have a chance to rehearse with her.
Oh, we will. We definitely will. It's in the contract. Well, Tom, I think that's great. Thanks for taking a few minutes of your time here to go over a few of these things that the chorale's done over the year. Really appreciate it, and enjoy your day here at Gillette Castle.
Well, thanks. I hope it doesn't rain.
Thanks for that perspective, Tom, and thanks for your dedication over the years to the Shoreline Chorale. We're very grateful to have you on the team. Well, that's a lot of talking, but hopefully you found it interesting, and now it's time to get back to some music. It's April 21st as I sit here in the Congregational Church making this little intro, and we have not made a final decision on what music we're going to play now. So let's watch together and see 2 or 3 pieces from the glorious past of the Shoreline Chorale.
Celebrate, celebrate, clap your hands. Sing a
made some pretty good decisions. I love those pieces, and I hope you did as well. Of course, over the years, there's been many programs and many audio files and video files and pictures taken. So we thought it might be a fun idea to kind of mosh them all together into kind of a montage of 40 years of the Shoreline Chorale. Enjoy.
In Amsterdam there lived a maid, mark you well what I say. In Amsterdam there lived a maid, with sailor's heart she always played. I'll go tomorrow roving with you, fair maid. I'm a roving, since roving's near my room. I'll go tomorrow roving with you, fair maid. Her eyes were blue, her cheeks were brown, mark you well what I say. Her eyes were blue, her cheeks were brown, her hair in ringlets hanging down. I'll go tomorrow roving with you, fair maid. A roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go tomorrow roving with you, fair maid.
Hi, I'm Tom Obis, president of the Shoreline Chorale. I wanted to thank you for joining us tonight and for being a loyal audience all these years. And I want to tell you about some of the members of the chorale that make our group so special. We're made up of people like you who care a lot about our towns, the lives of others, and who love the joyful, healing power of music. Pat Hill was one of our founders back in 1981. We joke she must have been 13 at the time because she still looks so young. She served on the board all these years and done so many things to help the chorale become a community treasure. And for so many of those years, she was joined by Tom Spear, who was chair of the board for 9 years and designs all those beautiful booklets that many of you comment on. He also, together with Nan Elman, puts all the music we have to rehearse onto CDs or onto our iPhones so that we can practice it at home. And speaking of those program books, many of you comment on them. Frank Granger, who many of you know is that persistent yet friendly guy who urges so many of you to buy ads year after year in our booklet, and we thank you from the bottom of our lungs for that. It helps to sustain the chorale and its music and helps us in so many ways. One of our newest members is Michelle Hammond, who brought her skill and talent and put a lot of grit and hard work into creating the virtual choir performances that you're enjoying tonight. It's a team effort. Everyone pitches in with the ads and buys drinks and snacks when we're able to rehearse together, and we sure miss that and look forward to being able to get back together again in person and to bring you a wonderful live performance to celebrate our 40th anniversary in November. Please look forward to that. This year we lost several members, Gail Carlisle, Bethany Grieg, Tom's wife, and our elder statesman about whom I want to say a few words, Fred Johnson. Fred was an Americana man who seemed to walk right out of a Norman Rockwell painting, exuding that American spirit that so represented us. He had a positive word for everyone. The original music man, he led high school bands all during his career, sang with the Shoreliners, our barbershop quartet, many other groups. He sang at open mics, bringing comedic songs from centuries ago. And he sang, of course, with the Shoreline Chorale well into his 90s. Members of the chorale got together and sang God Bless America at his memorial service at the Veterans Cemetery in Middletown in November, right at the height of COVID restrictions, with our masks on. It was a fitting Thanksgiving tribute. We dedicate this performance to our dear friend Fred Johnson in the hopes that this will be the launch of our great anniversary year. And as the Brits say, he was a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us. Fred, we thank and toast you and all the other members who have shared your spirits and your voices with us over these years. We carry forward your tradition. And to you, our community, we thank you for listening, for your enjoyment, your applause, your support over these years. Let this be a prelude to a great future together. Thank you again.
Well, there you have it. A quick look back at the last 40 years of the Shoreline Chorale, who we were and who we are. As we continue to celebrate our 40th anniversary season in the months ahead, we want to thank you for tuning in this evening and for your support over the last 40 years and for the next 40 years to come. We look forward to seeing you right here in the Madison Congregational Church in November for our fall concert, which will really be a celebration and a prelude to the future. Thank you. Good night.
Hello. Happy 40th anniversary, Shoreline Chorale, from Tommy Adinolfi Dietz. I wish you all the best and many, many more years of happiness and great singing.
Hi, I'm Ellie, and I am the music librarian for the Shoreline Chorale, and I wish the chorale a happy 40th anniversary.
Congratulations on your 40th anniversary. That is a milestone achievement. and I wish you many, many more years of music making. Take good care.
So on this 40th anniversary occasion, I wish you all the best and continued success after COVID.
Congratulations, Shoreline Chorale, on your 40 years. Thank you so much for the important work you do, not only for bringing great music to our community, but also providing a place for our community members to sing. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Mike Dorr, current Vice President, and I certainly am ecstatic about our having our 40th anniversary celebration this year.
Happy 40th birthday, Shoreline Chorale. I'm sorry I missed the first 37, but I swear I'll be around for the next 40. Happy anniversary.
Big shout out to Shoreline Chorale. 40 years. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Hey, Shoreline Chorale. Happy 40th anniversary. I'm really looking forward to when we can all be back together making more beautiful music.
Hi, this is Sandy O'Day. I'd like to wish the Shoreline Chorale a very happy 40th anniversary. I can't wait to get back to making music together.
I'm Rob Walker, a relative newcomer to the Shoreline Chorale. Our director and all of our members deserve so much credit for persevering and adapting during this past year of COVID to keep on singing, albeit virtually. I can't think of a better gift for our 40th than the opportunity to come together and perform again in real time. That is truly a reason to celebrate.
Hi, I'm Mac Walker. I'm a member of the Shoreline Chorale. We haven't been singing much lately, and I miss it. I sang when I was a kid. My mother was a choir director, so what choice did I have? And I did that till my 20s, I guess. And then life got in the way, and I didn't sing for 40-some years. And 20-some years ago, I got started again, and it's really great. I love it a lot, and I've missed it. Hardly sung anything in the last year. Although yesterday, some friends and I did take a hike up to Fat Man Squeeze in Killingworth, and on the way back we sang the Nestle song. You know the one, N-E-S-T-L-E-S, Nestle's makes the very best. This is your part. It was fun. It reminded me how much I've missed singing. This is our 40th anniversary year, and we're going to get back. And we would very much like you to be back with us because, just because we want to keep it going. That's my video. Take care. I'm going to come in out of the rain pretty soon. Take care.